the dogs and the little horse in tow, the universe sighing in relief, but not release. Same tone, cinematic prose, black humor, world-weary poetry. The next 6-minute block of Cursed the Thousand-Year Hangover, the never-ending saga. The light didn't end. It just changed temperature. Cooler, thinner, like the air after a lie finally gives up pretending. Scooter opened his eyes expecting heaven or hell, but what he got was a diner. One of those eternal 24-hour joints that never ran out of coffee and never ran out of ghosts. The fluorescent lights buzzed. A jukebox in the corner whispered static versions of songs that hadn't been written yet. The sign on the door said, "Welcome back, again." He looked down. Same boots, same scars, dogs asleep under the booth. The little black horse standing outside the window like a bouncer from another dimension. And on the counter, because of course, an ice-cold beer can, condensation perfect, label reading Limited Immortality Edition. He laughed so hard the waitress flinched. She was young and old at the same time, face made of memories he couldn't quite grab. "Rough night?" she asked. "Rough millennium," she nodded. "Breakfast or absolution?" "Whichever's quicker." She poured him coffee that tasted like rain on concrete. He sipped it and felt whole for about 3 seconds, then the air began to shimmer. People started walking backward through the door. Time was doing its little party trick again. "Ah, hell," he muttered. "Here we go." The diner peeled away like wallpaper in a storm. He was somewhere else. Same body, new scene. A city built of mirrors stretching into infinity. Every reflection was him, but not exactly. Some younger, some older, some not human at all. They were all talking at once. Open quote, "You wanted forever. You built it yourself. You called it love, but it was gravity. You can't die because dying requires an ending, and you never shut up long enough for that." Close quote. He shoved his hands in his pockets. "Good to see I'm consistent." A mirror cracked, and behind it he saw a face he hadn't seen in 1,000 years. Krista, hair blowing in an impossible wind, standing in the reflection of a place he used to call home. She smiled. "Still here, huh?" He smirked. "Occupational hazard." Her image reached through the glass, fingertips brushing his. "Maybe the curse isn't about dying. Maybe it's about learning to live without pretending you'll stop." Then she was gone, and the city folded itself into the shape of a storm. He walked, always walking, through deserts made of radio static, through rain that fell upward, through memories replaying on loop like bad reruns. The dogs kept pace, the little horse occasionally snorting when he got sentimental. Once, he found an entire civilization worshiping a statue of him. The inscription read, "Saint Scooter, patron of bad decisions." They offered him beer and forgiveness. He took one, declined the other. "You're all too kind," he said, and walked on while they chanted still here, until it became thunder. At some point, he started to realize the world was talking back in ways it never used to. The wind carried sarcasm now. The stars blinked in Morse code that spelled jokes only he would get. Maybe he'd become the narrator. Maybe he always was. He found another doorway, smaller this time, carved into the side of a cliff. Over it, someone had etched, "For the ones who won't end." He ducked inside. The cave opened into a hall of typewriters, hundreds of them clacking away by themselves, punching out versions of his story. Each page fell to the floor like snow. He picked one up. It read, open quote, "He never learned the difference between surviving and living, so the universe stopped trying to teach him." Close quote. He chuckled, dropped the page, kept walking until he reached the biggest typewriter at the back. A sign above it read current draft. The keys moved on their own, spelling new words as he watched. Open quote, "Still here." The story goes on. He keeps walking because someone has to remember the punchline. Close quote. He reached out and pressed one key himself, just to leave a fingerprint in the next version. The letter F. The letter F. For finally or forever, take your pick. Outside, the horizon split open again, and a new world blinked awake. This one smelled like rain on hot asphalt, felt like music from the next room. A world still figuring itself out, full of life, too busy to notice an immortal wanderer in its background. He liked that. Being background suited him. He turned to the dogs. "Another round, boys?" Louis barked. Rebel wagged. The horse rolled its eyes. "Yeah," Scooter said, raising the can that never stayed empty. "Still fucking here." The sun, if that's what it was, rose sideways, lighting the world in amber and teal, the same colors that had chased him forever. And as the wind picked up, whispering through the ruins of everything he'd ever been, he could almost hear the next line forming, waiting for him to catch up.